Hi, I'm back. Who knew I'll actually show up again on your feed? Thanks for clicking. First off, I just want to say thanks so much for making my previous video a hit one, and I'm fulfilling my promise of actually drawing more with this new video where I draw a hot guy with big beefy arms, nice titty, and a gorgeous dad bod. Hope you enjoy! Whenever I draw the line art, I realize I tend to start with drawing the nose first, since the nose is the point in the face that sort of protrudes outwards the most. I like to think that it's a good central landmark in which every other facial feature sort of assembles itself around. This is also the time for me to check that my understanding of proportions and angles are correct. If it's not, then I'll have to delete the line art and start again and again until I get it right. I think this is especially so because I take pride in the noses that I draw, such that if the nose that I've cooked up looks bad, then I will delete it all the more, right? After that, it's time to move on to the jaw and the mouth part. Those two things are really tricky to me. So with the jaw, right, I struggle a lot with getting the shape of it right. So when you tilt your head up, there's this trapezoid shape produced from when your jaw connects to the neck, which I find really tricky to get right, especially when you're trying to consider like how faces are shaped differently. So for example, some people have rounder faces, some people have longer faces. So how do you contextualize that shape to reflect the variety of faces that exist in this world? In a similar vein, I also get confused about how the lips look like. You know how like the bottom lip kind of puffs out a little bit? Like, if you were to reduce it to the most simple shape, it's essentially a longish oval with a really delicate curve to it. But in contrast, the upper lip is relatively flat on your face, I guess. So then the question is, how do you tilt that in perspective such that the lips look right? And then in addition to that, like the jaw, how do you like maintain the unique characteristics of the character's lips? Because some characters to me have puffier lips, some have more slender lips. So how do you account for that? And those are the questions that just go on in my head whenever I start doing the line art. And it can get very overwhelming if you only think about anatomical correctness while doing it. So whenever I do line art, I always make sure that my first draft looks right, in the sense that when I look at it, right, the first thing I see is not really the multitudes of mistakes, but rather the confidence of my brushstrokes and the potential for me to actually make it look nice, right? That kind of thing. If I like the first draft that I'm working with, I can very confidently say that I'll just rely on Liquify Kun and Warp Tool Chan to get it to look perfect. But in all seriousness, I feel like doing the line art is my favorite stage of the illustration process, because it is the stage where I turn my shitty sketches done in red to legitimate 3D looking forms with nothing but lines on the canvas. It just reminds me of the joy of being able to realize my own ideas with my own two hands and skill level. So it's the following morning since I've worked on the line art, and let me show you how it far he looks like this. Every time I successfully finish like a horny, see? Heavenly Intervention. Let me activate this for branding. So yeah, whenever I draw horny fan art, I get very excited because look, I like the rib cage. Let me make a new layer so you can see how horny I really am. Look at that rib cage. Look at that belly. Handsome. Okay, enough. So I am now at a pretty bad point, not in my life but in this drawing. So I wonder a lot about how this background should look like. So originally in the concept sketch, I planned for having like pots and stuff like this, right? So, and I drew them out and I think it looks nice. Let me activate the layer mask. Boop. I think this looks nice. I like the way the clay pots sort of frame the subject. Like I really like how like it's a sort of similar-ish shape language. I just realized. So there's like, so the pots are like this inverted U shape, and then Marco's figure is also this rough inverted U shape. And I also really like the shape of his arms here. I really like that. I like that the shape language is just so complementary to the silhouette I'm going for here. I really like that a lot. On top of this, right, I'm planning on adding some plants like this, for example. So some orchids sort of further frame the subject, Marco, and sort of put emphasis on his face. So artistically, I think this looks nice, especially when you add like more orchids in the background, right? But here's the problem. The problem is it will cover Marco's figure, like this side. It'll cover up more of Marco's figure. Objectively, that's not a problem. But the problem stems from the fact that I'm a degenerate and I want to show off this figure that I worked really hard to get right. Okay, I really want to show it off. This is usually not the case. Usually I'm more desperate to hide things. So this is something truly special and I want to honor that. So I'm thinking of redoing this background and maybe save this clay pot thing for a future illustration. But the thing is, I don't know what type of background I should do, right? And one thing I can do is I can make him like lie down on the bed. So maybe he has some like blanket folds, some bed sheet folds, and maybe he's lying on the pillow. For example, I can have a pillow here, the blanket maybe. I don't know, I think this looks nice, but I feel like this looks too body pillow. That's not really a concern. No, it's just that I didn't plan for this to look like a body pillow. Like that's not my original artist statement going into this piece. So I won't do that. And also he's wearing swimming trunks, so I want him to sort of have like beachy resort seaside vibes. I'm going to do more research onto what I can do, because there's a reason why I don't like to draw figures standing up, and that's because I can't integrate them into the environment properly for me. So I'm going to have a real challenge searching through Pinterest and Pexels to see what would look good for him. You can kiss him. Let me give you a layer. Mwah. If you comment on this video, you get to put like one kiss on him. So if enough people comment on this video, we can go wild. Okay? Hello. So as for the background, I finally figured out what the fuck I want to do. I was buying lunch today, right? And I was walking back to the office. And as I walked back to the office, I saw these two trees. Let me pull it out for you. That was a previous piece of Marco, whatever. So I saw these trees, right? Can you see that? Yeah, you can see it, I think. And I really liked how symmetrical they look. So there's like two trees here, and in the middle there's a lot of foliage. I really like this composition. So I want to see if I can try and replicate that in this illustration. I think it would work quite well, because like the composition is pretty vertical, and because there's a lot of like background foliage, it shouldn't be too distracting. actually, the thing is, right, like without like a planned voiceover, I don't really know like what to talk about, and I'm sure as hell not gonna like talk about what the fuck the process. Like fuck that. It's so boring at a certain point. And I said in my previous video, I said that I wanted to like talk about random things that I like, so we're gonna do that now. Yay. Okay, so as y'all know, actually I feel like most of you don't know this, and that's fine. I write fanfiction for One Piece. I think that's quite common, like all my friends know about this and now you do too. So I write One Piece fanfiction of my favorite ships, and just the other day, like I think 2 days ago, I got an idea for something. Where did this idea come from? Well, I think last week I posted a fan fiction of, you won't believe this, Marco and Ace. You won't believe this. Marco Ace is a really popular ship. I mentioned this because last week I posted a fic of them and someone left a super like brief but really sweet comment saying that it was really hot and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's so nice. And because not many people comment on my fics, I tend to check out the people who commented, and this person, lo and behold, actually has written stuff, and not just stuff, right, but Marco Ace content of all things. And I was like, oh, holy shit, that's sick. Oh, I'm gonna check it out. And for the record, most of it was porn. I think they wrote like other sincere things as well, but being the degenerate that I am, I only read the porn. And this person has a very specific like preference for Marco Ace content. Usually what I see in like fandom discourse about the ship is that Marco, this fucker that I'm drawing, is the top. Like he's the pitcher, I guess. But in their fics, it is Ace who is the pitcher. And I thought that was a really unique take. And as I read their fics, I thought, wow, this is a brilliant way of seeing them. And I got super inspired, and I wanted to see if I can do the same thing. And so that's what happened a few days ago, is I had an idea to write smut of these two. The thing is like with like my art, right? Whenever I get new ideas, it's always like a burst of inspiration. So I get this very hyper specific image of this one thing that I want to write. For this Marco Ace fic that I was thinking of, the first thing I thought of is not like a potential funny banter, but it's of them having sex. Right? And it's a particularly violent sex scene as well. And like when I thought of it, I was just, holy shit, what the fuck? Why did I think that? And why did I like it? So it's basically like, I don't want to tell you the porn plot. That's weird, especially if you're a minor. I can't control who views my stuff on YouTube. But let's just say it had every red flag possible, and it had dubcon in it. I wrote like a snippet of it in the train this morning, and I was like, yeah, exactly. This is exactly the kind of fic I want to write. I want to write Ace being a horny degenerate, and I just want this old man, this old guy, to be a blushing mess, basically. Yeah, basically. Yo, this looks nice. I want more foliage. Like, I think we can do more like background stuff. I think we can just basically just copy my own reference here. Yeah. Okay lah, just quick one, alright? So truth be told, the background actually went through a lot. Like, what you see now in this current video isn't actually what the background eventually looked like. I guess that's just the way the art process works. It's really irritating how I can't just stick to one idea. As I do the piece, I get other ideas. That's the worst thing you can have, by the way, fucking ideas. And then I want to edit the whole thing to make sure it looks better. Yeah, that's really annoying. But I guess just for a TLDR, as like a teaser to prep you for how this piece will actually look like, I've made some small tweaks. So for example, I've changed the face a lot, by the way. Like, his anatomy and face were really heavily skewed to one side, so I had to shift that. His outfit, like the swimming trunks, like you see me fuss over them like now, right? But in the end, I've removed it, so he's basically naked. But don't worry, I've covered it up with a leaf. Hey. And speaking of leaves and nature, I've also extended the background in the sense that, you know how earlier in this video you've seen me like draw the little bar, that little straight line at the bottom of the canvas? Yeah, I've gotten rid of that, just so we can have a better sense of scale, so that the background flows better. Those are little tweaks that you'll see in the next video, but for now, I'll let past me conclude the video properly. Thanks. Alright, let me grab the camera. Can you see this? Okay, so thank you so much to whoever watched all the way through. It means a lot that you actually like my videos. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next one, where I either color this piece or this one. Yeah, so if that's interesting for you, please stick around. Yeah, and that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. And I'm going to be Marco's first kiss. Let me pull up this. Make his big, and goodbye. Mwah!